Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream. Today, we are talking about ChatGPT Atlas. I have had the entire day to play with this tool, and I've got to tell you, I'm in love with it. And so, what I figured I would do today is I would go live here on my YouTube channel and show you how I'm using this tool. Because personally, this isn't hype. I don't really think the AI bubble is a bubble. I think that it's actually just that helpful, and people are kind of in shock about it. But I wanted to give you some practicality in today and probably things that you probably haven't seen people talking about, especially if you're doing local. So I have two things I'm going to do. I'm going to go through a short presentation. I'm going to go through some demoing inside of Atlas. I've been using it all day, literally at this chair. And then I'm going to show you how you can use it today to get better results with whatever you're doing, specifically for content purposes, automation, because it has an agent directly built inside of it, and things along those lines. And then I'm going to show you some of the automations that I did. I'm going to walk you through how to create some of those automations. And I promise you, if you stick around for this video, you're going to leave a lot more effective than you came in, because that's my job, guys. I'm here to make you more effective. I'm here to make you a better digital marketer. I'm here to make you confident in what you're doing, because there's nothing worse than an unconfident digital marketer. They stutter, they use ums, they use exclamation points, they use emojis. You don't want to be that person. So let's go ahead and get into the content if you guys don't want to wait. So first and foremost, let's talk about Atlas. If you guys have not been living under a rock, which I don't think you have been, ChatGPT has now a browser. Now, they've tried to do this multiple times in the past, and it's been a failure. But today, it's actually going to be something that you can use and download and have a really good time with. Now, just to be aware that the browser is only available right now for computers that are Apple, which personally, I use all Apple computing anyways. I've never been a fan of Microsoft. I don't think the user experience is something that's for me. However, in the future, it'll be something that you can use with Microsoft. But for now, you can download it directly through Apple, and it is completely free. By the way, this launches a major signal shift in how people are going to use search. I've been using ChatGPT's Atlas for the past 2 days because it came out yesterday, and I wanted to make a video about it yesterday, but unfortunately, I had another video that I wanted to cover. And I got to tell you, it is actually really useful. I was very skeptical going into it. It looks very much like Google Chrome, but when I show you what I'm doing with it today, I think you're going to get some ideas going in your creative juices. And then you're going to show up to work tomorrow or whatever it is that you do for a living, because I can't see who you are watching this. And then you're going to be all excited because you have all these new things that you can do with Atlas, and it's like a new toy on Christmas. And so probably some of the first things that you need to know is they've announced something called ChatGPT 5 Instant, which is a ChatGPT that doesn't search. It's just going to give you the answer right away. So think about the first version of ChatGPT that we had, where it just knew everything from a certain date. Instant is kind of the same thing. Now, what's interesting about this, if you're doing search, if you're doing local, is that instant is not searching, it's not fetching, it's just giving you an answer based on ChatGPT's brain. So that should give you a good understanding of where things are in the current landscape. So GPT-5 Instant, if you use the browser, you'll notice that it's using that a lot. Now, the reason for that is probably because ChatGPT-5 Instant is one of those things where it's going to save OpenAI money, because a lot of the questions they get asked actually don't need a search function. Yesterday, I talked about how over 31% of ChatGPT's queries, users select search. So it is becoming something that is going to be more prominent inside of SEO and things along those lines. But what's interesting about it is if you search inside of Instant, you could see if your company's mentioned in a database, and it'll give you a pretty good understanding of if you're being mentioned in ChatGPT's brain and memory. So I find that it was cool, really cool. The second thing I noticed is it's back to the blue links and even has the Google tag on the top right. So there's been a lot of conversation about ChatGPT scraping Google results. Now, I did not know this, but apparently, according to the law, if your website is public and passwordless, then by law, you should be able to allow people to scrape it. I did not know that until we started building Splashdashh. I didn't realize scraping was basically an amendment. And so that makes sense. So ChatGPT could freely use Google's data anytime they want because it's a public website. Google's almost become a public utility, and ChatGPT might even be able to argue that Google is a public utility because so many people use it. So a lot of the search results are actually just Google search results inside of ChatGPT. Now, for a lot of you people that are doing SEO, you're probably just going to go, oh, thank God, right? Because we are, right? Because some clients don't show up at all in ChatGPT for the same queries. They're showing up number one in Google. Now, when we talk about visibility tracking in the next slides, you're going to see how to actually measure that and how to actually use tools to do that really quickly, really inexpensively, without over investing in some of these high profile AI visibility softwares that are out there, which there's a new one coming out every single day. So just being super clear that when you do that, you're going to see that Google link, and that's just getting that data from there. The second thing is focusing heavily on images. There is a whole section inside of the GPT browser that is focused on images. Now, I have been talking about this for the past couple of weeks, that a core service that our agency is doing and that your agency should be doing is photos and videos for the client, because it can be used in so many different places. Like, think about what you're seeing here. That image that's being mentioned there is from Groupon. And so that the data, OpenAI is looking at all these different sources and compiling that information. So it's not just about what's on the Google search results or your Facebook. It is very much where you are in multiple different places. Now, if you think about it this way, you take one photo, you take one video, and you can use that for so many different places throughout the internet. This is exactly what we did with somebody who just started at Develomark, who's working on a couple of dental offices that we work with. Their first role is to go to the office, get some photos, get some videos. We take that information and we distribute it across the web, because we understand natively that visitors and search engines, especially LLMs, are going to become really visual. Now, I want to ask you guys, based on these pictures, what do you think these sources are? And that's exactly why doing the LLM visibility tracking is really important, so you can understand, oh, well, you're not showing up in this area, but AI is showing Groupon. For some reason, ChatGPT is picking and choosing what it's picking information from. It's not very consistent. So we are very much in the everywhere economy right now. We are very much in the interest media economy. Like, people get things when they want it. There's no like searching for things anymore. There's no like you need to have followers. There's no like distribution has specifically become, there's so much content on the internet that if you create something specific enough to the specific person, they're going to find it and they're going to use you. So it's a huge area of opportunity for those of us who are not huge brands with gigantic advertising budgets, especially if you're local. And local is like the best thing in the world, because most of the things and most of the companies local aren't even paying attention to this stuff. And so if you work with a business that's local, hang on to them for the rest of your life, because if they see the vision in this and they understand the framing that you've given them on how they're going to get more results, how they're going to make more money, how they're going to hire more people, how they're going to make payroll, pay their insurance, bring their kids through college, go on vacations. If you sell that dream to them, you can easily compete with a lot of people using the methodologies that I teach you here on the channel. So just a little thing about that. And guess what? Boom, videos, short form. So specifically for the exact keyword that we're going to be targeting. Now, the beauty of doing this process is, as I was showing you yesterday, if you are doing the video for the client, you can have a ton of these targeted keywords ranking at the top of the search results for a lot of things. So this is a shoot that we did today, as you can see. And this shoot, we're going to take a lot of this content, and these are now all going to be content that's going to be published directly inside of the YouTube Shorts for the client, and they're each going to target different keyword phrases. The reason why that's important is because we know natively that AI algorithms are looking at videos. They're looking at short form. Now, when I actually go into Atlas and demo some of the stuff with you to kind of show you how this is relevant to local, not national, you're going to see why the video is so critical, because Atlas can read transcripts of videos. I want to make that very clear. It can read the transcripts. So the more video you publish that are relevant to a specific interest, the more likely you're going to get mentioned in the LLM results over time. So I'm going to show you that, and I'm excited to show you that. But I just want to make it super clear that we're focusing heavily on short form because of that reason. Now, AI visibility is becoming absolutely critical, non-negotiable. I don't care what you say, you need to be paying attention to it. This is not hype. I wish I had like an alert red light thing. And I just wanted to tell you, like, this is not hype. So many people I'm talking to, clients, day by day, are telling me clients are finding them through ChatGPT. Now, I want to tell you guys something really quick. Every single time you talk to somebody, that's a moment for you to better understand where the world is. My favorite 3 questions are as follows. How do you use the internet? What kind of ads do you see on a daily basis? And I like to ask them, what platforms do you use? And every time you get that answer, everyone says completely different things. Some people don't use YouTube. Some people don't use TikTok. So me understanding attribution has become a part of my culture. It has become a part of how I live my life. The attribution is the story. So every time I talk to a business owner, I'm interviewing them for my own selfish reasons. I'm like a guy in a lab with a white coat that's trying to figure out every single movement of what my clients are seeing and what their clients are seeing. Because in reality, a lot of these tools don't allow you to see that information in the real world. We've over-systemized things, and we've realized that by over-systemizing, it gives us a good amount of data when we're working with clients, but it doesn't give us the truth. It doesn't give us the data. So if you're not paying attention to AI visibility, it's one of those things that you absolutely need to pay attention to. Now, this is a shameless plug because this is a tool that I've built called Splashdsh, and you can run a simple visibility report. I've tried to make it dumb simple. Like, if you go to a tool and you sign up and then you have to put in all these prompts and you have to track it and it's $2.99 a month, that's too much. Splashdsh, I've made it $29 a month. It's really simple. You can run basic reports, Don't think it's perfect. It's early access. It's something that we're working towards very hard. We have updates that are coming, so thank you for that are using it. But what I'm trying to do with it is trying to be able to create very simple little reports that's going to allow you to track what you're showing up for inside of the LLMs. Now, if I actually go to the actual Atlas web browser and I type in the keyword phrases that were showing up inside of the visibility report here, you're going to see that it's pretty accurate. But the good thing about that is, I'll actually share my screen. The good thing about that is when we look at the actual ChatGPT results inside of Atlas, you're going to see that, let me just pull it up here. You're going to see this is Atlas. And so you're going to see that I typed in the keyword term insulation contractors, Milford, Connecticut. Again, if I go here, it's just using Google. So as long as you're ranking well inside of the Google search results, you're probably going to get recommended inside of Atlas as well. So all of the best practices that you're doing are still going to move over into the AI chat. However, I want to make this very clear. Look at what Atlas is actually recommending the customer. It's showing them very visual information, but not only that, it's showing the visual information of the competition as well. So guys, I cannot stress this enough. This kind of stuff right here is absolutely critical. Most businesses have a difficult time representing themselves. That's why you exist. You're there to help them communicate themselves. It's probably why so many people don't make videos. It's because they have a really bad time communicating themselves, because we live inside of these four walls inside of our head, and we think that people care way too much about us. When in reality, people don't spend any of their time thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves. So communicating through video, communicating through photo is the new service, is the new model. You want to help businesses create more multimedia and tie that back to the SEO strategy and the digital marketing strategy. So when you go to this website, also, just want to be super clear. The cool thing about Atlas is when you actually go to the website, you keep the chat open on the right side. That's something that I've really enjoyed doing. And what that's going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to navigate the website, but also use some of the tools that are available inside of there. So like, for example, if I wanted to ask this business, or I'm sorry, if I wanted to ask Atlas to go to this webpage and do something, I can accomplish that. And that's going to be super helpful as you're doing your tasks and your services and your digital marketing when you're working with clients. So I want to make this very clear that I have two browsers that I'm using right now, Chrome and Atlas. Two of them are for completely different things. This is definitely not a Chrome replacement, and I don't think that's their intention. I truly believe that the AI market is actually increasing the search market. It's not taking from. There's so many more users. Like Chrome is so valuable, but so is Atlas. I'm using it for two completely different reasons. So I'm excited to show you exactly how I'm doing that inside of this live stream. So back to what I was talking about before, AI visibility has become a non-negotiable when we work with clients. And I'll typically run this a few times per week, depending on the customer, so I can see what they're showing up for and what they're not showing up for. Now, I kind of talked about this in the past, or just a little bit before, that citations are going to be by location and landscape. What a mover is going to be listed on and what's going to be important for a mover to list on is going to be much more important to know if you're working with a mover than what a plumber is going to show up for. Now, when Splashdasher runs that AI visibility report, you're going to see that it's going to look at your niche specifically and give you what's showing up for that exact client in that exact location. For this example, we see that Move Buddha is showing up, but when we do it for a moving company across the country, the results are completely different. And this is how you actually sell and present the citations as something to do. In a past live stream, I've talked about how the citations are actually showing up in the search results. So a lot of our clients are beginning to sponsor those citations. There is now a reason for you to sell the citation to the customer. Now, I know a lot of you probably do citation management, so you'll put a business up on a bunch of things. What you want to do, what you want to think about is what are the citations that are actually going to matter for that customer. Now, in Atlas, they're relying on Google search, but I'm sure the reason why they're relying on Google search is just because it's quick and easy to launch the product. Over the time, I think it's going to primarily go into web search. But keep this in mind too, web search is expensive for ChatGPT. It's expensive for them to go fetch fresh data, so they're going to want you to use instant. So knowing what the visibility of the citations are in that area is absolutely critical. And I'll use this report to sell a customer, because all you're doing, guys, when you're selling something is you're making the customer trip over data. If you just go in there and let's say I'm Victor, who's watching the live stream right now. What's up, Victor? If I go in there and I just say, hey, get listed on BBB, and they're like, I hate the BBB. And you're like, okay, we don't need to do that. Boom, the customer owns you. You don't own anything. You don't own the conversation. You don't own the direction, because you literally have no data. You've got to get them to trip over their truth, and then you've got to present it in a way that makes sense. And then you've got to present the data so that they could quickly see it. That's the whole reason that I made Splashdasher, is it's not an AI visibility software by any means. It's a tool that you can log into and create a bunch of dashboards really quickly so that you can get customers to trip on the truth. That's my goal with it, because I find that in a lot of conversations, you go in and you don't have any information of how you're going to do anything. That's a very dangerous place to be, especially if clients are spending money with you. So citations by location and type is going to be absolutely critical. On this example, you can see that we did a prompt for 155 prompts. And the first one that was ranking was the actual client site, which is relieving. That tells me that the customer is being mentioned in that location often. There's been reports that have shown that Gemini, Google's AI product, is showing first-party data as quickly more than ChatGPT is. All ChatGPT is relying on first-party data, citations, forums, mentions, things along those lines. So being everywhere is more important to show up in ChatGPT than it is Google Gemini. So when we have the Gemini feature available, I can't wait to talk to that about you so I can show you how to tackle actual Google AI visibility. So let's get into the actual content. This is a website that we're working with right now, and it's really great how on any page inside of Atlas, you can use the sidebar to chat. This is useful for talking to web pages. In this case, you can see on the right side, it actually worked for 6 minutes. So Atlas actually did work for my business. And the way that it did that is I'm going to show you right now. What we did here is we basically had a task. And in this case, it was to review this website. This is a website that we just made. And basically from there, on the right side, you can see that you can open this tab that says Ask ChatGPT. And all I did was I turned on this actual section here where you can do a lot of things right here, like you can attach things, etc. And all I did was I asked it to review the web page. Simply said, review the web page and tell me what's wrong. Something along those lines. When you do a prompt like that inside of Atlas, it's actually going to go ahead and review the web page and analyze that information. This is extremely useful because when I was going through this website, I simply did that, and now my designer knew everything that was wrong. There was these tiny things that probably a human being wouldn't have caught just because we're busy doing 100 different things. But it was basically finding things like the phone number is inconsistent. There's a dash here. There's an M dash over here. That saved me a lot of time just going through it. I think where the massive area of opportunity for this is I can run this task. Like, let's say I did this and I ran this, right? So now ChatGPT is going to know the context of the page. It's on the page. It's going to go ahead and start thinking of how to handle this approach. And then from there, once it does it, right? Once it actually analyzes this page, I can walk away or do multiple tasks at once. So I really feel like in the near future, people are going to have multiple computer setups, multiple laptop setups, and they're going to have prompts to take care of a lot of these actions. And clients are going to get so much more from people like us. So it's really important that you're on top of this kind of stuff so that your client can benefit from it. So you can see that on the right side, I was able to analyze this web page and it gave me some really cool information here. Now, I'm not going to read all of the information. It even read the title tag. It looked at the legibility. What's funny about that is that legibility, let me show you guys mobile. That's actually true. So the recommendation here is actually valid. We do need to make this a little more transparent. So what usually took us a while to analyze a website is now something that's actually GPT is just going to do. There's some disclaimers that I want to show you at the end of the video of when I did this and it was completely incorrect. So make sure you still check this information. It's not always going to be incorrect. Like it was telling you something was missing when it actually wasn't missing. However, imagine being able to now have quality testing without a human being. Guys, this is why you should be excited, by the way. Every time OpenAI does something, you just need to hear how to use it and you need to understand how to use it for local. And now you can become more profitable. And guess what? If you're more profitable, you're happier. That's how that works. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And happiness is not being attached to too many things that own you. You need to be free like a bird. And so that's what this is allowing me to do. When I show you the workflows we're doing in here, it's really great. So anyways, you can see some of the different things inside of here. Add the phone number. I agree with that too. Like I want a phone number directly here. So it's giving me a lot of those recommendations. When you're in a window too, by the way, just so you guys know, it took me all day to figure this out, is I actually just figured out that you can close and open the tab here. So if I wanted to, and it's kind of hard to grab, there we go. So if I wanted to move it, I can have more of the chat on the right side and less of the chat on the right side. So that was really good to use too. Now, the thing that I love about Atlas right now is how multimodal is. So if I wanted to actually just go in and search something, let's say I wanted to search for this business and find information. In the same conversation, in the same window, I'm now getting work done in both ways directly inside of ChatGPT, where typically I would have to go to Google, get the information, go to ChatGPT, copy and paste. And I'm going to talk to you about extreme efficiencies on how to do that based on what I researched today. But now my conversation has a lot more context. So one of the key things that I did was inside of Duda, which is the content management system that we use, there's a lot of little pieces of information that you have to fill out. So I'm actually going to go ahead and upload a video and show you how Atlas actually did this process and filled in the information. So this is a video that I just put up on the screen. On the right side, you can see Atlas is working, and then it's actually pasting in all relevant information about that business into these little connected data components. I don't have to use any third-party software to do this. It's just doing it directly inside of the browser. Guys, I am extremely impressed by this. Traditionally, we had to use something called Operator, which really didn't work well. It was terrible. And I got to tell you that the prompting is really what matters here. So you still have to be very descriptive of what you want, but you can see how OpenAI's tool is just going through the features here and actually inputting that information. This typically takes us 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do. It's something that I could just turn on and then open a new tab inside of Atlas and start doing something else. So you can start to build different prompts to accomplish different tasks, share that with your team, and know with confidence that it's going to get done really well. When you see something that's going incorrectly here, you can just click on that take control button or stop the entire action, and Atlas will actually just quickly and seamlessly let you start taking over control. Oh my God, I'm blown away at how fluid it is. And then here on the right side, you can see it worked for 6 minutes. So 6 minutes of my time that I now don't have to spend doing a repetitive task, 1 minute of quality control, let's say, is absolutely monumental when you think about what my time is worth per hour, which is really not that much. But, people like saying that. I think people enjoy feeling like they're important and that their time is worth more than it actually is. But to my point is what I'm trying to tell you is it's really, really great to be able to do that. So that's one of the key features that I really loved with Atlas is actually just doing a lot of that automation there. So let's get back to the content. So that is really good, the sidebar. The second thing that I want to show you guys is the cursor feature. This is one of my favorite features so far, especially when I'm doing the digital marketing services for the client. Now, I want to make that super clear that I'm finding that Atlas is great for when you're in a deep work mode. It's not great for when you have to communicate and do Zoom calls and do those kinds of things and just quickly access your Chrome extensions and things along those lines. But I got to tell you, like, this feature is so cool. Now, I'm a person that just talks to my computer anyways. So I'm not going to go into Atlas to send an email. I just talk to my email and I let the misspellings happen. Guys, in an AI world, it is now cool to misspell and do the wrong pronunciations on things because people know you're not AI. No exclamation points, incorrect pronunciation in certain places. Don't be an idiot, obviously. But what I'm trying to tell you is like talking to your phone and having that little sent from your phone at the bottom of an email. That's cool. That's back. You don't want to be Mr. Perfect. People don't like that. So what's really cool about this feature is you can go ahead and pick text and then change things. So I'm going to show you how I'm actually making this applicable to my business. So this is a website that we're working with right now. It's called CT Junction, which, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. We've been working more towards making smaller websites, but much higher quality media, which is something I've talked about in a past live stream. And it's really, really critical because you're doing all this work for pages that are getting no traffic. You might as well spend that money getting more media. So something really critical there. But let's take a look at this. So this is what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you that cursor feature. So I have this website up here. This client found us through our website. They submitted the form. And then we did this wild, wild thing where they work with us. They don't really pay much. And then we basically give them a risk-free guarantee. But it works. And so here, you can see that when I hover over any text inside of Atlas, there's this little button right here that allows me to rewrite the copy. Now, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this text because I don't want to mess up what this designer has made. I actually really like it. I'm going to copy this text here, and I'm just going to put it on a different page. In this case, I'm going to go over to the test page, and then I'm going to show you how this tool works. So if I click paste, and I have this text now here, and I'm using this information, I can rewrite this information directly inside of Atlas. So if I said make this more humorous, and I uploaded that, Atlas is going to work directly inside of the browser, right? Like that. And I can update this and it's going to change that text. Now, historically, if you're a dinosaur, you're going to go back to Google Chrome. You're going to do text in ChatGPT and then move it over, right? That's something that you might do. But the reality of the fact is now you can just do that directly inside of the browser. There are so many things that you can just do that to optimize information with directly there. Now, I want to be very clear with you guys too, that when you're using Atlas, you can also use the actual, you can actually use the agent feature. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. And if you wanted to update something really quickly, I can go over here, right? And I can click on agent mode. And now that I'm in agent mode, I'm going to go ahead and tell it to rewrite. the text description for Middlebury Furniture, since that's kind of what's in the conversation right now. I'm going to open this up a little bit more. In the text box, when you activate that feature, now you can see that Atlas is going to actually take the cursor and start moving on your computer. It's going to plan its next steps. It might get confused because it's going to be like, this is not Middlebury Furniture. This is a different business. But what I'm trying to show you here is the more clear you show it what it needs to do. Look at that. Oh my God, look at that. It's awesome. It knows exactly what to do. So think about the opportunity of this. Boom, done. Once it's done, I'm doing take control. And now it did everything that I did, right? So if I wanted Atlas to go through this homepage and rewrite things or do whatever I wanted to say, like change pictures or rewrite things or add pages or whatever, I could do that as long as you're very clear on what it's going to do. So key point there is guys, you need to understand and really think about tomorrow. Tomorrow, go on a walk, put your feet on some grass, do some grounding, right? If that's your thing. If you enjoy the earth, go put your body on it and think about what are the things that you can do to automate. Write prompts for that and then start automating that information because Atlas is really good at that. That's going to work for Google Business. That's going to work for Yext. That's going to work for Facebook. That's going to work for anything that you can do where the computer can take control. So I want to show you another really good example of how Atlas can actually take control of the computer. So I'm going to open up Splashdash's, and this would work for really any tool that you're using that's going to do analytics or really any software. I'm going to show it to you with Splashdash's just because it's what I've been using today. Let me just go ahead and do this. Okay. So I'm in Splashdash's right now, right? And so this is where we're going to do the actual results. So I'm going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT. You can see that now that I've opened up another tab, it's in the different app. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for a business just so I have context. I don't really like prompting too much. So I'm going to say search for DevelopMark, digital marketing agency. Okay. And now I'm giving it context. I use the search feature a lot to just start the prompt and start the conversation and give it context. I want to type less because if I keep typing too much, I'm going to get arthritis or whatever the thing is where your joints get locked up, especially when you type too much. So that's why I like talking to the microphone a lot or my computer. So now I have a little bit of summary of what DevelopMark is. You can see right here, and I can confirm that this information is correct, especially that I'm the founder and the phone number, etc. Now I'm going to switch from the search because Atlas is multimodal. I'm going to switch from different tools that ChatGPT uses. That's why it's important that you understand which ones to use and which ones not to use in certain components. You are an AI expert. You are an amazing person that understands digital marketing. The client comes to you for your advice. You show them data to keep them moving forward. You make money, and then you spend that money however you would like. That's how the world works. And so let's go back here. What I can do is I can activate agent mode, and I can actually tell ChatGPT to run a ChatGPT visibility report, in this case for DevelopMark, using Splashdash's. And then let's see how it runs that. So same thing is going to happen. I've started a new task. OpenAI is going to look at my screen. It's going to read the code. And then it's going to run that visibility report. You can see it quickly found that information. It's going to look for the business name. It's going to type the domain. It's going to do all of those different types of inputs. And it's going to run that report automatically. Now, if you wanted to take this to the next level, you can do this for multiple businesses. You can do this for multiple softwares that you use, etc. Blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff can happen. So while that's happening, think about how that you can use this for multiple different types of things inside of Atlas directly. It's gotten really good. I'm very happy with the prompting here. So at any time, if this is working, I can switch. So for example, if I wanted to quickly take control here, I said, okay, no, I don't want 25 prompts. Let me just go over to, 50 prompts. I'm going to confirm the information, and then I'm going to click resume. All right. It's so amazing how I can just seamlessly walk back and forth between Atlas and just stop it, fix it, and keep going. A lot of the times, like if you're running 6 computers and doing all this stuff, it's going to allow you to scale this. Another example here, it got the incorrect location. It doesn't know that that's actually not a town. So there's no way it would know that, right? But the fact that you could just go in and out is amazing because the old operator that ChatGPT had would just try to do the work. It would mess up a lot of times and it wouldn't be able to complete that task. Just imagine specializing in this type of stuff for one type of business, building this out for them, getting the prompts correct, and then running it for them, right? So that is another way that you can use Atlas so it can actually run that report. So I'm going to let that report load and then we'll get back to it just because it takes a little minute. So let's get back to the actual presentation. Oops, sorry, that was the wrong one. Here we go. Let's get back to the presentation. So that's the cursor feature and a little bit about more of the agent. And I just talked about that a little bit more. The next one I want to show you guys is getting the data from YouTube videos. I found that this one is absolutely amazing. Prehistorically, what I would do is I would visit a YouTube channel and I would go to that YouTube channel and I would try to get the transcripts of that information and then go ahead and prompt it to get the correct information that I wanted. So let's go. Let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. So if I go back to Atlas and I go to the actual thing here, I'm going to search for a client we just started working or we just made a video for, Modern Day Smiles. So this is a testimonial video that we posted 3 hours ago. Now, historically, what I would do is I would go in here and I would actually show the transcript. I would copy and paste this information into ChatGPT. And then I would prompt it to create a blog post, to create a newsletter, to create social media, whatever I was trying to do, right? Now, Atlas has that feature directly on the right side of the video. That's the great thing about working with videos with clients that are local, is that you can take that one video and you can stretch it out to do so much more than you thought. So I love the fact of taking that transcript information and using that for marketing in the future. So in here, I could just click summarize the video. And Atlas is quickly just going to read the transcript. Oh, it looks like the connection was lost, but it's going to read the transcript. It's going to go through the video, and then it's going to go ahead and give me what that content actually is. Now I can take that content, I could put it into a blog post, I could put it into a social ad, I could put it into whatever I want to do with it. The key point here is like, if you're hosting all of your videos on YouTube, it's going to be a marketing powerhouse for your business. So one video, several short form clips, blog article on the website, Google post, video on the Google listing, video goes to your Yext directory listings. You can kind of start to envision how much more we're getting just by actually making videos for the customer. But Atlas is going to allow you to make that very, very easy directly inside of the platform. So it looks like the network connection is lost right now. So I don't want to keep going on this one, but we'll just move on. But you get my point. This is something that you can try tonight, just getting transcript data directly inside of ChatGPT's Atlas. So really, really, really useful there. And again, you're kind of moving back and forth between different features, which is really cool. So that's getting data from YouTube videos. Then we were analyzing user experience. I already showed you that. Typically, when we were doing this, I was having somebody go through the entire website with their own eyes. And we still do that just because sometimes it's not going to understand some of the things that it was doing. For example, I'll actually upload a couple of pictures here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But when I was doing this and I was trying to do it have it do some bigger tasks, it was finding the incorrect information or saying that it couldn't access things and along those lines. So while it's not perfect, it's definitely one of those things that you still want to focus on and still want to work with. I definitely recommend using it there. And then we talked about populating data. This was populating the client's information using the agent directly inside of the platform, and that was really useful. And then we talked about running reports, summarizing for content ideas. If you're on a web page and you're navigating and you're just flowing through and you're on a web page and you want to summarize content ideas, typically you would have had to take that URL, put it into ChatGPT, let ChatGPT talk to that URL, then give you the data, then you'd have to paste it elsewhere. What's wonderful about this is that it's just doing it directly native inside of the browser. So to me, Atlas is a work powerhouse. It's not like Google Chrome where you can get everything personalized. It's more so one of those things where you can actually get a lot of work done in there. The only problem with it that I found is that there are no Chrome extensions. So if you want to see if your website has a pixel, if you want to use some of the tools that a lot of the agencies or other tools have made that allow you to automate things, you can do that. But a lot of these tools are actually missing directly inside of ChatGPT Atlas. And I think that's what Victor said here. He wants Atlas to have more plugins, which makes sense. And so that makes sense. Someone said, honestly, redundant. I think if you've watched the video today, you can kind of see that it's actually not what you think it is. It's not what Google Chrome is. It's actually just a different product entirely. ChatGPT knows that its goal is to actually take your browser and do a lot of the actions for you, like I showed you in this video. And so if you understand that this is an AI agent and not really a browser, it's going to unlock a lot of creative abilities for you to really use it for your own type of business or your own clients, etc. So that is a little bit about Atlas. I just wanted to show you guys how I'm going to be using it. It's mainly going to be for using the workload and making sure things get done faster and testing it. Now's the time to test it, guys. Go download it. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next stream.